Welcome, fans, once again to KB's Unemployed show, the only show on the internet where you can sit at your job and watch a guy who doesn't have one anymore. What will KB do today? Change guitar strings, perhaps? Grade papers? Worry about his future? Who knows? The only thing we know is it's guaranteed to make you question your intelligence, simply because you're watching it. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the unemployed lifestyle of KB.
The pods are now open.
Look at my cat. Look at my cat. Look. Look.
I like to study about the world cities and airports.
KB brings just great instincts. That's what you love about him.
Oh, that boy ain't right.
If Andy yearns for Brenda and Brenda cares about Charlene, who pines for Andy, the three of them form one of these. Kara.
What is it, threesome?
No.
Taste the biscuit. Taste the goodness of the biscuit.
Lesbians. It's what makes a Subaru a Subaru.
I don't mind a bit of bush.
37 in a row?
Shut the f*** up, okay? Shut the f*** up.
Do you want to start drinking?
Yes.
You know, I'm going to have to go for 420, Bob.
Cheez-Its! Cheez-Its! Cheez-Its!
Light this candle.
He's right. Let's light this candle.
Light the candle.
Are you ready for it?
Wow! I didn't even realize this. I'm on the air. How about that? Welcome. Welcome, listeners, I guess you could say. Viewers to KB's Unemployed show. Hey, nice to see we get 11 already. 11 of them already in there. It's going to be an interesting show today. Of course, I've got, as I always do, I've got KB's top 5 all favorite things. And today's top 5 favorite things is not going to be anything that's really favorite. It's going to be top 5 things I hate. And I'm going to want you to chime in on some of that as well. So I will be doing that. Also, I want to touch on some of the things that are going to be happening in the I want to talk about the college football playoffs. I want to talk a little bit about the Packers game against the Bears, where I stand on that. Although I'm not going to touch a lot on sports because I'm not supposed to. But I mean, who cares? I'm talking to 18 people about sports, so about. I'm going to get in trouble for that. I'm going to get in trouble for that. But then also, I do want to talk about, so I've got the top 5 things, and then what color is the sky in your planet, of course. So where did we leave off yesterday? Where did we leave off? Oh, I know. I do want to fill you in on a couple of things that are going to be happening here on KB's Unemployed show. Number one, I still don't have a job. Okay, so I'm still unemployed. Now we're coming up on, let's see, 1 month, I believe. Yeah, 1 month of unemployment. And I first got rocked on December 9th. I believe it was December 9th. Yeah, I got nailed on December 9th and was asked to depart my place of business. Well, it's not my place of business, but a place where I was conducting business or doing a radio show. And so I'm 1 month in, and I'm starting to think that I might have to go out and get like a real job, although I'm too old. So I really don't know what I would do. But it was a very, very productive day for me as an unemployed person. I started out very early, taking Kenneth for a walk. He's in the room now. I did have him on the Kenneth cam, which you would have been able to see here. But as you can see in looking there, the Kenneth cam is empty, and it's because he's sitting right below me. There's going to be a new feature that I'm going to be adding too, because should we have a 1 month unemployed party? Yeah, why not, James? Let's have a 1 month unemployed party. I don't care. I'm cool with that. So I may launch another Kenneth feature that I've been working on, which would be called Can Kenneth Kill It? And Kenneth is, he's not delicate with anything. He's not delicate with anything at all, actually. He immediately will just absolutely trash something. Let me just go back. We're going to get rid of this second screen because Kenneth isn't there. He will immediately trash something within seconds. There is not a stuffy or a toy that he hasn't trashed. I definitely want to get to the Kong company because Kong continuously, they advertise their toys as being, their dog toys as being virtually indestructible. And I bought him a ball that you can put treats in, already plastic ball that you can put treats in. It's destructible. The only thing he hasn't destructed are those galvanized rubber balls, or the galvanized the thing that you put the treat in and it bounces around in all goofy ways. He hasn't destructed those yet, but anything else is toast. Just flat out gone, including a pair of golf shoes that he absolutely trashed once. Very expensive golf shoes, as a matter of fact. I'll put those up. I don't have them with me right now, but I'll put those up. Had a pair of golf shoes that were given as a gift to me, and they were kind of like Great Gatsby shoes. Those they were red and white saddle type wingtip shoes, and then they had the Wisconsin, even though I'm not a Badger, but it had the Wisconsin logo in the side, and very, very cool. Never wore them that much because they were pretty heavy. And had them out one day, and Kenneth must have smelled the leather and went nuts. I thought he was chewing on a toy. No, it was a pair of $350 golf shoes. But can Kenneth kill it? The answer is yes. My wife and I are basically to the point. When it comes to toys, it is going to be probably a choice of three: hockey pucks, rocks. Well, those two, basically hockey pucks and rocks. Everything else he can absolutely crush. We get him those big bones, those big thigh bones, those pig bones. I don't know if it's a thigh bone or a leg bone or a shoulder bone or whatever. Doesn't matter. He can bite, he can chew those and take hunks off of those bad boys. So that is what we will be doing. But what I want to do is I just want to take a video. I want to give him a toy and then video it and put it up against the timer and see how long it will take him to kill things. With any luck, I could probably, if I can get people to anything to go viral, maybe I can make some money, or at least very well get companies sending me toys. Because once you post an animal on Instagram, boom, your DMs get absolutely crushed with people saying, hey, do you want to promote your animal? Hey, we saw your picture. Respond and we'll get you more followers, or blah, blah, blah. And how many views do you want? And I'm not going to pay any money for that. To do that. But I get one thing to hit and go viral. Thank you, Demo Derby 7. Let me put the comments up on the stage and you can see what's going on here. A fun fact from Demo Derby 7 is that, what does it say there? The original Kong toy, was created after the founder gave his German Shepherd a rubber axle bump off his VW bus that he was working on. And Jane says, yeah, my great idea for today, you stay unemployed and get Kenneth a job at testing Kong toys. That is a genius idea. But James, you just gave me a great idea for a segment, because I just make segments up. I mean, that's what I do. I just make stuff up. I have no idea what I'm doing. And those of you who listen to the radio show that I was on previously know that everything that I do is pretty much a stream of consciousness. They have to have my disclaimer on there. KB's Unemployed show is not affiliated with any local, regional, or national or media outlet, media personality who I may or may not have done a show with in the past 30 years. So it's not affiliated. I'm not owned by a company. There's nothing. It's just me killing time in the afternoon. Anyway, but James says something really interesting. He says, my great idea for today, stay unemployed. How about if we start a feature called Viewer Great Ideas of the Day? And James, you win. Yours is a great idea of the day. Now, one thing about my former radio partner, Drew, and I, is that we said we're great idea men. Our follow-through is always horrible, which is true. We had literally no follow-through. But now I got nothing but time on my hands, so sit tight, because there is a very, very good chance that you could see maybe the Festival of Food Fountains come to life, or a Frisbee golf tournament, which we never executed, come to life. We did execute our Guitars for Vets concerts, but obviously we're not doing those anymore. But we have executed those concerts. So we can follow through with some things. There is some potential to follow through with some things. But in the meantime, why don't you do that? For those of you who are listening, feel free to reach out on the YouTube channel, or feel free to reach out on Twitter, and just get to me and ask, tell me what your idea of the day is. You got a good idea of the day? Let me know. I think it would be a wonderful addition. It would be a very wonderful addition to the show. So anyway, so where are we today? Where are we today? Interesting, a very, very interesting, development. As I said, I watch a lot of court TV now. And hold up, my wife's home. I gotta go shut my door. Will you just give me a moment? La 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 la. And we're back. There we go. Where was I? Someone tell me quick. Where was I? I was somewhere. Where was I? All right. I don't know. I have no idea where it was, but it was someone quick, please. James says, please don't tell my wife that I had a great idea. She might expect another one. Yeah, that's the problem. So see, okay. Now I know. Now I remember. See, this is why I'm not so sure this show will be a big hit. I might have to get a co-host. I have, like I said, I would love as a co-host to have Kenneth join me. Thanks, Ben. Court TV. Yeah, that's right. So I was talking about Court TV. And let me just remove Kenneth. There he is, removed from the feed. So I was talking about Court TV to bring this up. And of course, I am a big Court TV fan. And there was a case that I had been following that went to sentencing today. And it was the case of Devin Michaels. And Devin Michaels is a porn star who acted under about 5 or 6 different names. But it was a twisted web that she wove, and was really difficult to follow. It was more difficult to follow than Bill Wyman's family tree. And if you know anything about Bill Wyman, former bass player for the Rolling Stones, he ended up marrying the daughter of a woman. So he was in his 60s or late 50s, and the woman he married was like 23. But his son, who was in his 40s, ended up marrying the daughter, the mom of the daughter his dad married. Okay, so I can't even begin to. You have to have like an Excel spreadsheet to figure that out. But anyway, Devin Michaels was convicted of killing her ex-lover. And she like poured chemicals on him and then beheaded him. Took the head with her, by the way, which I can't even begin to imagine. I can't even, which is good that I can't begin to imagine it. I don't want to go, I don't want to sit at home and say, you know what I just thought of, honey? I just thought, like, if I killed someone and I beheaded him, would I take the head with me? No, of course I wouldn't do that. But she took the head with her and then dumped it in another place, as if they're not going to know something bad happened. He's missing a freaking head, for Christ's sake. So, but she took the head and disposed of it somewhere. And the son was discovered by the mom. But here we go. This is where it gets twisted. And I'm going to have to refer to my notes here. So if I look to the right, you'll know that I'm looking at my notes. What she was she was convicted and sentenced to 330 months. She's 47, so 330 months is going to be 30 years. She won't get out. I mean, no possibility of parole. She will not be out until her mid-70s, at which point, her anger issues is probably going to be taken care of. But for killing her ex-lover. Well, how did this go down? Well, she killed her ex-lover. Then what she did was, before she killed her ex-lover, threw him up, but had a child. So now she's got her ex-lover, child. Okay, so woman, Devin Michaels, porn star, kid, boyfriend, ex-boyfriend. Well, she takes up with the son of the ex-boyfriend. So, in effect, it's the kid is dating his dad's ex-girlfriend, right? But it gets different. It gets worse, right? So they're dating each other, and she falls in love with the son of her ex-boyfriend, gets married. So now she marries her ex-boyfriend's son, who has, and she has a child with her new husband's dad. So if you want to follow that, what happens is the dad, who is the father of the porn star's son, right? And the son gets married. That would make, before they got married, that would make his son with the porn star his other son's stepbrother. But now that they get married, he becomes the stepfather to his stepbrother. Follow? It's crazy. So he is the stepfather of his stepbrother. Okay, her husband wanted to get back with the porn star, but she wanted to stay with her current husband, who is the son of her ex-boyfriend and is the stepfather to his stepbrother, who is her son. She doesn't want to get back together. Things get heated. She kills him, dumps chemicals on him. So his body is being eaten up by chemicals, cuts off his head. Right. Then tries to pin it on her new husband, who is the son of the guy who is dead. And it's like, wait. That defense is not, I do not see that defense working at all. Well, it obviously didn't, because she was convicted. But what guy in their right mind would fall in love with a woman, become the stepfather to his dad's son, who is his stepbrother, and then be so jealous of his dad trying to hook up with his wife that he would kill his own dad and the father of his own stepbrother, then cut off his head and take it and throw it somewhere blocks away. No, it's not happening. But anyway, Devin Michaels gets 200 and some odd or 300 months. So that one is done, gone, buried. It is over. Then I flip around and Rob Reiner's kid, Nick Reiner, was arraigned. And I talked about this a little bit yesterday, that Alan Jackson, who was the attorney for Karen Reed, was his attorney for Nick Reiner. They postponed the arraignment. He is yet to be arraigned. They postponed the arraignment again until February because Alan Jackson, this Uber attorney, if you will, this super attorney, resigns and is not going to take the case, but comes out and he says, he goes, we still support Nick Reiner, and then makes a very dicey statement where he says, pursuant to California law, Nick Reiner did not commit murder. Or how do we say that he is innocent of murder? Well, you start digging into that stuff, which I'm sure no one will, because they just hear what they hear. But if you listen to what he was saying, he was actually saying, pursuant to California law, he was not a murderer, which means that there's probably some mitigating circumstance in there that would preclude him from being charged with murder. And it might be a reason of mental health defect because apparently he is schizophrenic. But then he resigned. So you go, this guy's like a super attorney. If he's resigning, you know a couple of things are happening here. A couple of things are at play. Seven Dermo, yeah, that's right. Seven Demo Derby says, who is Jacob in a band, by the way, said, I didn't know Alan Jackson was a lawyer. I thought he was way down yonder in the Chattahoochee. Well, the lawyer is, I believe, from Nashville, or I don't know if he's from Nashville or so he might be down on the Chattahoochee. So he resigned. So you know darn well that if he is resigning, there's something there that he can't win or it's going to make him look bad. So it'll be very interesting to see what happens moving forward with this. Again, it's really kind of tragic. This guy, I'm sure. Thanks, Mickey, for not leaving me. It's kind of tragic what happened, but when he gets into prison, there's going to be trouble. Which, by the way, because I'm unemployed, I get a lot of time to jump into my streaming services. See, this whole show is going to be KB Stream of Consciousness. That's where whatever my mind goes. That's just how it's going to be. But I started getting into streaming services and doing a little binge watching. One that I started binge watching was an HBO series that was on a long, long time ago. As a matter of fact, it was on so long ago, it's still square, you know, when it shows up on the screen. It's not shot in high def. It's not shot in letterbox. It's still square. But that being Oz. And I started watching Oz. And I'm not sure where I am with it, other than the fact that I didn't know that's where J.K. Simmons, how J.K. Simmons was one of his first big roles. Of course, you know him from Whiplash and the Farmers Insurance commercials. So he's a mean mother in this. He's a badass. He's a bad, I'm going to have sex with my celly and you're going to be my bitch piece of property mean. Which is kind of like he was in Whiplash without the, here comes Kenneth again, without the gay prison sex. Hold it. But hold on a second. You have to go. Go by mom. Mom's home. Okay. No, don't sneak in here. I told you this is the neediest dog in the entire world. Because all he tries to do is, I've had to put a literal barricade up around my desk. Otherwise, he will just find his way in underneath the desk and want to be petted incessantly. So I'm watching, so Oz, which is a pretty good prison film. which gets me to another top 5. I might do my top 5 prison movies. You got to put like The Green Mile in there, Cool Hand Luke, right? Shawshank. One of the best prison movies, Chain Heat with Linda Blair. Women's prison movies, kind of interesting, without a doubt. Chain Heat is a classic. Mickey says, timing is not great for me, but I will not leave you. Well, thank you. But, the thing is that all of these, because I'm doing this on YouTube, they all live there live. They're all there on YouTube. So you don't necessarily have to tune in at 3 o'clock. You could go back to YouTube anytime you want. In fact, James, didn't you do that? You sent me an email saying that you were back watching one from a couple of weeks ago. And so I highly suggest that you do that. The original case is top 5 cartoons that were made for children but better suited for adults. That's what I talked about this yesterday when I did my top 5 Batman villains, TV show villains. Is that show is so chock full of innuendo. But you've got anything on Adult Swim or any of those, Simpsons. Those were all made for adults. But then there's a lot of other ones that, when you're talking about Saturday morning cartoons and stuff, there were a few in there that were definitely cutting both ways. The other thing about cartoons, you ever notice this, that let's go with Bugs Bunny. Bugs Bunny is a classic Saturday morning cartoon, right? And Mel Blanc did almost all of the voices. But if you think about it, every single character that Mel Blanc did, or Blanc, whatever, did on Looney Tunes had a speech impediment. Do you think that would fly today? Every last one of them. What's up, Doc? Right? Or suffering succotash. Every single one. Right? Everyone had a speech impediment. Maybe it's just the woke people haven't figured that out to cancel the cartoons yet. But every last one had a speech impediment. Go check it out. I'm not wrong. But anyway, so where were we? Now I lost my Oz, prison movies. The other thing I started watching is Landman with Billy Bob Thornton, Ali Larter, John Hamm. I've become a big John Hamm fan, although he's getting a little bit overexposed. But I have become a big John Hamm fan. Ali Larter is just killer. And she does a couple of nude things in the first couple of episodes. Could be a body double, but who cares? One can use their imagination, right? But Billy Bob Thornton, just kiss. The writing for him, the dialogue for him in this television show is priceless. It is absolutely priceless. It is so good. So I only think everyone was talking about it. So Sue and I started watching it this weekend. I think we're 5 or 6 episodes in. So that is a good one. Everyone's freaking about Stranger Things and how much the conclusion of the last episode of Stranger Things was. Never watched it. I don't like strange things. That whole genre is it's not my scene. If anyone hasn't got any good ones that I can binge, please let me know. But the cool thing about Landman, what kind of got me sucked in right away, and I love it when writers and directors do smart things, and they leave Easter eggs in stories. And this was one that right in the very first 10 minutes of Landman, there is a scene at a high school football game. And of course, it's obviously set in Texas, but there's a scene at a high school football game. And the high school football game is Odessa Perriman. And Odessa Perriman, Billy Bob is there as this oil guy, right, watching the game. But Odessa Perriman is the high school that Billy Bob coached in Friday Night Lights. And so they did it, and it as an homage to Friday Night Lights, and put that in there. And I love it when they do things like that, have those little Easter eggs in there, or the tip of the hat to stuff that was done before. But Landman is exceptionally good. I highly recommend Landman to anyone out there who is watching it, because Billy Bob is the best. And Original K says Bad Santa will forever be Billy Bob's bread and butter. It's right up there. I mean, he's done some great films. He did the one with another one is I don't remember the name of it, but they were air traffic controllers, and it was John Cusack, Billy Bob, and Angelina Jolie, who is naked in the movie. So again, that's another, if you're into her, I'm not really into her, but there's a good scene with that. What was the one that he did? Monsters Ball with Halle Berry is a great movie. Of course, Friday Night Lights, he did Sling Blade, which Sling Blade, I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is, but with Sling Blade, but as soon as Sling Blade came out, every man in the world started doing a Sling Blade impression. I don't even know the name of the character. We just all call him Sling Blade, right? It's like, potatoes. Everybody did that, and I'm glad it didn't. I'm glad it didn't really catch on to become a super hit, because it would be it'd be like, what's that? It would be like the most annoying thing ever. Fried potatoes, let's see here. Ben in the 414 says Black Rabbit on Netflix was decent. I gotta say, Ben, Bad Rabbit, I guess, was, from what I heard about it, got pretty intense. So I was really not a fan, and didn't go into that rabbit hole, if you will. See what I did there? Did not go into that rabbit hole. The Black Santa rabbit hole. But okay, so Netflix, Billy Bob Thornton. Okay, so where am I on a couple of things? There's one thing that I want to bring up and talk about, and I'm going to try and do it without being political. I don't think it's possible. For those of you who listen to the radio show, know that I am not a real political person. I hate everybody. I can't stand anything. There are opinions, directions, one way or another, that I approve of, disapprove of, but I hate them all equally. So I don't really get, psychotic over anyone who's doing anything, because I hated you to begin with. And I don't like anyone on the other side. So there's no reason for me to really hate you. Like, people that really hate Trump have a side. Well, I hate their side too. So there is no reason. But if someone can explain to me, what the hell? What's with you and fixing fucking sandwiches? Fixing sandwiches? Am I fixing sandwiches? What are you talking about? What? Explain yourself, Original K. What's with you and fixing fucking sandwiches? I don't know. What is it? I don't have a sandwich, so I have no idea what you're talking about. But can someone just explain to me what the flying hell is going on in the world? The world is the most effed up place now. I don't have, Trump derangement syndrome. I do like the fact that want to put America first, so make America great again. I don't see it as being something for a radical right, like a white supremacist or anything like that. It's just something like, hey, let's go back to being as good as we were, because we weren't as good as we were before. But now it's going totally unhinged. And, okay, I can kind of understand. You go in and get this Maduro guy in Venezuela, okay? Get Okay, you're going to do that. Yeah, sending drugs in, understand, gave them. It's not the first time the United States has ever gone in and taken out leaders. So anyone who thinks that the U.S. is this, fine and upstanding country that doesn't do anything wrong, well, you got to get your head out of the sand. In fact, one of my favorite lines in the Godfather too is when he's talking to Kay Adams, Diane Keaton, and she makes a comment to Michael about how powerful, that that the Don Marlon Brando is powerful and has senators and as business associates, judges, all of that, which of course the mob does. They get guys in their pocket, and she says to Michael, "Yes, but senators and judges don't have people killed." And Michael looks at her and says, "Okay, don't be so naive." And he's right. But so everything's going on. I'm going, okay, so the Maduro thing, tip of government, happens daily. Okay. And the US is dirty in it. They get their fingers in it. But then all of a sudden it's like, all right, well, then people on the other side, I mean, this guy is like a scumbag, right? But just because everyone hates Trump, now they're all going out and going, free Maduro. It's like this guy that, this Luis Mangione, apparently all you got to do is be good looking. You shoot somebody in the back. It's like, what the hell is up with that? And like women want to date him. It's like this social media world has gone absolutely crazy. But I was okay. So I was okay with the Venezuela thing. You go take the guy out, you put him up on trial, right? He's a bad seed. He's a bad actor. But then all of a sudden it's like, nah, we're going to take your oil tankers. It's like, whoa. Okay, don't step over the line. Yeah, you can escort the oil tankers or, and it is. I mean, Venezuela has more oil than any other country, more oil than Saudi Arabia, more oil than, Russia, more oil than any other country is in Venezuela. And, so that I went, okay, well now, okay, that's a little much. Okay, do we really need to go there? And now all of a sudden, another mineral-rich company, it's all starting to make sense now, and I'm not all that happy with it. But another mineral-rich country is Greenland, and all of a sudden it's like, nah, I think I'm just going to annex Greenland. It's like, what the hell? You can't just go and say, I'm going to take you. Yeah, we're going to just make you part of the United States. I don't think it works that way. Although I did get a big joke on, I think I'm going to make Canada the 51st state. And I'm sure that he does a lot of stuff just because he knows that people are going to absolutely lose their shit, right? So some of the stuff he says is just to watch them freak out. But it's like, come on, man, you got to pump the brakes on this thing. Because now it's getting to be a little bit out of control. But you know what's really out of control? I want to talk to somebody in New York and let them know how this home I'm down thing is working out for them. When you got that one chick who was on going, we have to stop looking at property as an individual good and as a collective good. That could be a what color's the sky in your planet. It's like, people are like, yeah, it should be a collective good. It's like, okay, when things are too expensive. And I don't know if you've ever seen an overhead shot of Mumbai. But that's what New York's going to be pretty soon because, rent control, everything is going to get so run down. And if someone came to me and said that my house, which I just put the siding back up on after it got blown out, if someone would come to me and said, well, yeah, your house is a collective good, it'd be like, go F yourself. It's not a collective good. I can't even understand that thought. How is that going to work in New York, right? But apparently it's people aren't going that crazy about it. But then what's so funny when she's talking about how owning a house is racist and moving to the suburbs is racist. It's like, what the hell, lady? They did a little digging and they found out they found out that her mom has a $1.6 million home in Tennessee. So, just standing on your virtues and preaching, it's like, I just want everyone to shut the F up, right? That's all I want. I mean, it's just like, shut the F up, be quiet, and go about your business, love other people, work hard, and then elect the right people. Because right now, between 52 senators and 450 some odd members in the House of Representatives, we've got 510 or thereabouts completely incompetent people. And Drew has a great line, and he said this, and I tell you, I've got to agree. He said, I happen to believe the only people that should be allowed to run the country are the mob, because that is a well-oiled freaking machine. Say what you will about, I don't condone the way they go, the things that they're into or what they do for a living, or the criminal element of it, but that criminal element probably isn't nearly as bad as what we're seeing on the other side. But the one thing about their organization, that is a well-oiled machine. So I happen to believe that the only people that should run the country are the mob. Drew's belief, and I have to agree with him here, he said the only people that should be allowed to run the country are Apple Genius Bar workers and the people that set the lines in Vegas, because they're the only ones who ever get that right. And you know what? He's not wrong. He's not wrong. You know what I'm going to do? Hold on a second. I got to move something here. And please talk amongst yourself. We're going to do that. All right, Kenneth. There we go. And we're back. Oh, I got twisted kind of. No, get out of here. Kenneth. Oh, go back. All right, we got this going a little bit sideways here. We'll get that straight. There we go, much better. So I'm going to move this over here now so I can kind of look over to my right and see the TV, or see my monitor. So where was I? Okay, criminals run. And Drew is right. Those are the people that should be allowed to run the government. And I can't figure for the life of me why anyone would want to run for public office. You're just going to get it. And I think that's part of it, is that everyone shreds the people that run for, and we're going to have another election coming up, so get ready to not watch TV, because it is going to be hell. And it is going to be an absolute train wreck, and we're all in. As who said that here? The original K, right? It's all a big club and you're not in it. That's an old George Carlin line when he talks about the government. It's a big, it's like he said, a big boys club and you're not in it. And that's the exact truth. They're all making money. They're all on the grift. And it's just unfortunate because, hey, you know what? I'm an unemployed guy. I'm not making anything. True story, though. You get people that go out and we try and, work hard and earn things. I've been unemployed for extended periods, but not really too long. Maybe 2 or 3 times in my life. And, let's say the first 2 times, I never filed for unemployment. And I just didn't do it. I thought, no, I'm not going to live off the government. You work hard, you go out and you make a living, and okay, you find yourself in a difficult situation, right? What do you do? You go out and you work hard, you find a job, you live off your savings. Until a friend of mine said to me, he goes, well, how much are you getting for unemployment? I said, I didn't claim unemployment. He goes, are you crazy? He goes, that's your money. And I never really thought about it that way. I swallow my pride, and now I am, I'm filing for unemployment. Absolutely. You got to have some sort of scratch coming in. I'll take money up. The government I'll take as much as I can. Everybody else does it. Now, I know people say that's a bad attitude. No, it's not. I mean, I paid into that. I'm going to take my money out, right? You pay to protect yourself. I'm not sending it to Somalia or, the Ukraine or anywhere. I don't even know what that's about, to be honest with you. And then, that's the other thing. So now what do we have to put, what skin do we put on our Facebook now now that they abducted Maduro? Because he had the Ukraine, he had the blue and gold one, then he had to do a Palestine one for a while. So I don't even know. I'm so confused with this. I don't have any idea what I have to put on my Facebook account. So when I put it over my homepage, I don't know who to stand with. It's like stand with who? I don't know. I have no clue. Here we go. Mickey says, "You are my sister." Wow. Okay. Sorry to see that I'm sure your sister's, a happy gal. I'm sad to see that, to hear that she's chubby, but like I am, but I've got some things that could help her out. You know what I'm gonna start doing? I don't know if you get this in your social media feed. This is how you use. I'm going to tell you right now. Here is how you use AI. And I use one of these shows. I am going to run down the list of my most random ChatGPT prompts over the last year, because I was looking at them and they're crazy, right? They're absolutely crazy. You can't tie anything together with it. So I will do that. But ChatGPT, what it is good for. As I'm scrolling through my social media feed and the advertising comes up, and it comes up at the beginning of the year, big time. It hits your feed. And last year, the big thing was chair yoga, right? And I love this stuff that we're going to give you a 28-day workout program, and that 28-day workout program is going to be for the absolute laziest way that you think you can turn yourself into looking like you're ripped, like Bruce Lee, like you're prison ripped, right? So last year was chair yoga. This year it's Tai Chi. For people over 50, here's your 28-day Tai Chi plan. And so then you go in and, they're going to charge you $40, and then it says, or annually, and you use it. So if they give you a 28-day plan, you might use it the first 14 days. ChatGPT, here we go. Anytime you want something, you can do this, because I just did. So I was interested in the Tai Chi thing, but I'm not going to pay $200 and some odd. There's no way in hell. But ChatGPT, and I use it quite a bit. I automate a lot of my tasks now. So I'm using it in a smart way. I'm not using it for answers. I'm having it do things that were generally they were time wasters. And I can go, boom, and it's done. So I just said, well, let's see. I went into ChatGPT, did a prompt where I said, generate a 28-day beginner Tai Chi program for people over 50 that have artificial hips. And within 30 seconds, here comes the whole plan. And then it prompts you back. It says, do you want me to put this in a downloadable PDF? It'll give you 4 things to choose from. And it was downloadable PDF with illustrations of how to do the exercises. Yes, put it down. So that plan that I was going to get charged $350 for, or whatever it was a year, I spent 5 minutes on ChatGPT, downloaded it, and I've got the whole plan. So tip to you guys, that's what you should be doing with things like that, without a doubt. That is a good way to use ChatGPT. Mana. Huh? Okay, Mana 29 166. What are you saying? Huh? For what? Original K, unemployment is insurance. Companies pay payroll tax for more government nonsense. Yeah, it is, but it is kind of government nonsense, but I'm going to use it because it's going to put some coin in my pocket. And then, I got to get a good cash job other than bartending. I got to get some good under the table tax-free American dollars. I think you're going to see me next year going out and doing a lot more gigs and bars, singing some little singer-songwriter songs in a bar for $100 here or there. Get the four-hander at Yin Yang. But I digress. So another thing that I want to talk to you guys about is that I am pulling back. I want to see just how lazy I can get while I'm unemployed. And so what I'm going to do is this show is going to be moving to only 4 days a week. It's only going to be Monday through Thursday. But Friday, I'm going to take from the previous week, I'm going to go into each show and I'm going to put a show together that's kind of like a weekly recap. And this week we had a great, I think we had a pretty good week this week. And so one of the things that'll be on tomorrow, if you missed it, and you're watching at this time, is my interview with John Adias. So I'm going to break that out and put it in, and you can take a look at that. John Adias, of course, who used to be on 1070 in Madison, or was a co-host with the Mike Heller Show. He has gone on to, he has the John Cast. He has his own podcast. He just recently had Kelly Sheffield on from the Wisconsin women's volleyball team, for the coach of the Wisconsin women's volleyball team. He and I had a good conversation about women's volleyball, about the game, about how he calls it, about how he makes it interesting on the radio. Because not being familiar with women's volleyball, you're like, well, how do you, she spikes it. What are the different words? How do you keep it fresh? And how do you keep it fresh? And he went through all of those things. He's also a big sports card collector. So we were talking about that, the Golden Touch, the show on Netflix with Ken Golden, the guy that's got the very, very high-end collectibles business. And he revealed that the one card that he's looking for is I want to say a 1989 Ken Griffey rookie card. And it might be I don't know if he said it's a Fleer or a Donruss, or I don't know. But he did dive into how the card market totally sucks now, and how expensive it's gotten, and they've got these super premier packs that you've got to buy, and they're several $100s, and people doing card breaks, pack breaks, and stuff. I suppose it's kind of, it's pretty cool, but I have all, because my mom threw out, I'm one of you guys where your mom threw out all of your cards that you had. I'm praying that maybe she didn't, but I'm pretty sure that she did, because some of the cards that I have that I do recall that I had, I know that I could probably pay a nice portion of my remaining mortgage with some of them. Like I had basketball cards from 1970 in that era, and I had a Lou Alcindor, and I had I remember Wilt Chamberlain and Bill Bradley and Dave DeBusschere. That's when the Knicks were. Willis Reed, way back in the early days. But that'll go in there, and we talked about that. We'll talk about what we'll put in there is some of my favorite top fives, which we're going to get to shortly, and my what color is the sky in your planet. But I'm going to be working, I can tell you this, and over the next couple of weeks, you're going to see a lot more interviews, not necessarily in the sports world. This is going to give me an opportunity to talk to some of my friends in entertainment, and get some behind-the-scenes questions answered. Pete Schwaba is coming up in the next 2 weeks, and he wrote a movie called A Guy Thing. Talked to him about screenwriting, how he went from stand-up comedy into writing for the screen, how he got a movie produced. We're going to talk Monday, coming back Monday on the show. You know him, you love him. He is going to spend about 40 minutes with me on Monday Dobie Maxwell, Dented Can Dobie. See, because he's not employed by another company, so he can come on my show. And has every right to do so. Adam Pavlov will be joining again. I don't know if I'll have Cabbage on, but I will have Alpha Ava. We'll be doing that too to keep the young people involved. When you are unemployed, you need 3-day weekends. You're darn right you do. The original case is breaking is gambling. Do not do it by singles. Oh my God, 1970s. I feel old now. Well, yeah, I mean, but I was 7. Okay, yeah, I am old. I mean, you can tell by the hair. My hair's gray, but I was like 7 years old. Yeah, the breaking is, love the topic, watching from Florida. Okay. Yeah, but the pack breaks is gambling. If you're putting, I think you probably have a better chance of taking that $300 and going and throwing it down on a blackjack table than trying to find a Jordan rookie card. I like pack breaks, okay, but as a kid I did. And there is something that I just absolutely, now that, you know what, that reminds me, now that you got me talking about this, I'm going to go get a guy from Jeff Sports Cards on. We're going to talk about collectibles. And I'll show you some of mine, because just in the room that's right behind me, I've got a few baseballs that are totally kick-ass. And I've got like the right before the Kiss reunion tour, Spin magazine did 4 magazine covers, one with each of the members of Kiss, and I have 2 of them signed. Sadly, I'm not going to get Ace Frehley's signature because he carded his 6 under. But I have Peter Criss's signed, and I have Paul Stanley's is signed. I really wanted to get Ace and Gene on all 4 of those covers, but so I've got that. That's an interesting one. I got some Jack Nicklaus stuff. So okay, that'll be a topic coming up. I'll get someone from Jeff Sports Cards in, or one of the sports cards places. Yeah, here we go. Original K. Hell yeah, collectibles would be a great show. But you're right. No, you're right that it is kind of like gambling. But I remember it was great when you were a kid. We had this grocery store around the corner from us, and it was called Mitem's Grocery Store. And it's a house now. And in Antigo, growing up, there was probably, I know there were 3 of them that were in town, on one on each side of town. Mitem's was on our side of town. It was right around the corner. Then there was Bowen's Market. And there was one up by where my grandparents worked. But it was like a little tiny, it was like a bodega. It was like a Wisconsin bodega. It was tiny. But when the football cards would come in, for a quarter a pack, it was like, man, I would run down there and I would get those packs, and I would open them, and I always remember looking at them, going through, oh, got him, need him, got him, need him, got him, need him, got him. And then, of course, the great thing about cards is you find, if you have a buddy who's got a stupid little brother, you give him crap cards for his good ones, and you fleece him on the trade, which is another loss. When you get stuff that's so expensive for sports cards now, you can't screw somebody's kid brother over, okay, because they're all in it for the money. But I have a ton of cards downstairs, and I was thinking of using like Google Lens and looking at some of them that might be worth something, putting them into Google Lens and seeing if there's any value to it. The other thing is that I came across is my son has a whole book, a whole collector binder of Pokemon cards from when he was a kid. This Pokemon thing is insane. I have no idea. I have literally no idea anything. I know nothing about Pokemon. But he's got a whole book of them, and I don't know if they're good. I don't know if they're bad, but there might be one in there that we don't even know was good. And it could be sitting in there and be like, oh, hell yeah, let's trade this in. And I don't care if, because I think my wife would say, those are his. And I'd be like, screw that. I bought them. When he was 6 years old, he wasn't breaking in the money and going down there. We bought them. Those are ours. Law of Eminent Domain. So that will be coming up. But next Monday, Dobie Maxwell will be on the show. Next week, we'll have Peach. Maybe next week, we'll have Peach Schwaba in. I don't know if it'll be next week. I know Jeff Cesario is going to come on. Billy Gardell is going to come on. So Gordon Brown out of New Jersey, who is a great guitarist who I've known for years. He has been on stage with his band Williams Honor, did some dates with Bon Jovi. He did a tour with Keith Urban, and he has done some of those fundraisers in Jersey that Bruce Springsteen does. So he hasn't necessarily performed with Bruce's band, but he did. He has been on stage. James, did you have the old Packers bottle caps with players' pictures? Oh, Jesus, James. Yes, I had a ton of those. I think that was Pepsi, wasn't it? I haven't thought about that in years. I have not thought about that in years. The Pepsi bottle caps. And then you had a book, right? Because it was like a little plastic rubber thing that you would pull out and then you'd put it in the book and collect them. I have not thought about those in years. I'll have to go up and look on that and on the internet, on the World Wide Web. But anyway, we're almost running out of time here. So what that does is that brings us to, and I'm looking back at our child. The other thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to get some young people here to advise me, because we got to get some younger folks in here and learn about what the young kids are doing. But what we're going to do right now is it comes to that point in the show that I know everybody loves, and that is time for KB's top 5 all-time worldwide. KB's top 5 all-time worldwide. And today, the top 5, my top 5 all-time worldwide. And you can tell me, as you get older, your tastes change, right? And you can tell me some of yours and hit the comments below and tell me what some of these are. And once I start going, you're going to know exactly what I'm talking about. When my son was little, he would only eat ham and carrots. It was ham and carrots all the time. Ham and carrots, ham and carrots. The only meat he would eat was ham. Now he's like if he wasn't an anesthesiologist, he'd be a chef. The stuff that he's sending pictures of that he's making, and he's doing Brussels sprouts and all that stuff. But it got me thinking. That I'm going to do a top 5 list. And today's top 5 list is the top 5 foods you had to eat as a kid, the top 5 meals you had to eat as a kid, but absolutely hated. And you don't really realize it when you're growing up. Some of the things that you were eating them because you were poor. I don't know if you remember that pancake dinners. Man, if you had a pancake dinner, we're going to have pancakes. It's going to be great. Why? Because you can feed 100 people with pancakes. It's not going to cost you anything. It's like, those are poor people foods. But I had a great, we're not like destitute. Struggling middle class, right? I had a great time growing up. Dad worked hard and everything like that. But poor people food, but you ate some crap. Now, I came from northern Wisconsin. And northern Wisconsin, obviously a lot of outdoors people. Hunters, fishermen. I did not get into, I know if you go farther up north, and I've had conversations with people like this about the people that are going, and they're all the people in the big city that are going, we have to take away all the guns. And it's like, okay, well, what are you going to do about all those people up there in those counties in northern Wisconsin or Montana or South Dakota or upper Minnesota that go hunting? And if they don't happen to get their deer for a year, they don't have meat for the winter, right? Now, you can't do that. Okay, those people survive on that. Or when they fish, okay, they're going out and it's going from the boat to the pan. They're going out to get food for their family. But when you grow up there, you have, stuff that you eat. It's entirely, it's a different style of eating. So my son was a picky eater. I remember my mom getting mad because we went up there for Christmas and we went out and got him something because my mom was doing hors d'oeuvres or something. and it was like bacon wrapped chicken livers and white bean chili. It's like, this kid is not going to eat this stuff, right? He's not. But you eat differently. So my top 5 all-time worldwide today is the top 5 all-time worldwide meals I had to eat as a kid that I couldn't stand. Now, there's one of them on here that I don't mind. The other 4, not at all. So coming in at number 5, I couldn't stand it as a kid, but it's something that I would eat, but I love now because Sue makes a great. This is fantastic how she does it. Coming in at number 5 is tuna casserole. I hated tuna casserole as a kid. Couldn't stand it. James says Jello with celery and carrots in it. Yep, you're absolutely right. I hated tuna casserole, and I remember my mom tricked me into eating it one time, and I said, "What are we having?" And I misunderstood her, and she said, "You're having what Aunt Louise feeds her chickens," which is another thing that I might go down a street on, or people who raise chickens in their backyard, but I digress. And so I'm eating it. It wasn't that bad. And then I find out it was tuna casserole. So I got tricked into tuna casserole, but there was a long period of time that I did not like tuna casserole. Coming in at number 4, and this is another one, if you're an outdoorsman, that would be venison. Not a fan of venison by any stretch of the imagination. Now, venison sausage, I like, but not really into the gamey meats at all. And I know people will live and die by, they love to get their deer, and they love to have venison steaks, or, venison tenderloin, or they cut the back strap out, or what have you. And they go, "Oh, it's so good. You just got to fry it up in some butter and onions." Well, you fry anything in butter and onions, for Christ's sake, it's going to be good. But venison comes in at number 4 of foods that we had to have for dinner that I did not like. Coming in at number 3 is the cabbage roll. Now, the cabbage roll wasn't bad necessarily. The cabbage part was, but it was all that like wilty, wet, sloppy leaves. And, cabbage is one of those vegetables that, again, was, you'd have a ton of it. And because, it was nourishing, but I used to take the leaf off, just eat the hamburger on the inside, and I get yelled at because it's like, "You're only eating the hamburger on the inside." And it's like, well, yeah, I'm only eating the hamburger on the inside because the cabbage part of it sucks. I have no interest in it. Sue, the only place you should ever have cabbage is in sauerkraut on a Reuben, or sauerkraut in like a pork roast and sauerkraut or whatever, or coleslaw. Only 2 times that you should eat cabbage. And the only 2 times I ever will eat cabbage, right? And coming in at number 2, and I know some people are going to, disagree with me here, is trout. And not necessarily, lake trout, although I won't eat that either. I'm not a big fan of the freshwater fishes. Okay. I'm not a big fan of eating, bluegill, walleye, any of that stuff. I'm strictly an ocean fish guy. Your Atlantic salmon, and I know they kind of freshwater because they swim upstream, but not a big fan of the freshwater fish. We used to have trout. It was bony, it was fishy, and then you cook it like this with the skin and the head on. I do not want to eat anything with a head on it. Okay, and it's like and it's like you eat something with a head on it, and it's looking at you, and no, but it's like, oh, we're gonna have some good trout. No, we're not. We're not. The trout is not going to be good at all. whatsoever. Now, I would fish. I like to fish, but I was catch and release. I'm not going to go and I don't eat anything that I catch. So trout is the number 2 thing that we would have to have for dinner that I absolutely hated. And then coming in at number 1, as the worst things you had to eat for dinner as a child, but your parents made you eat it, is, I think this has got to be on everyone's list, liver and onions. And it was always served with liver and onions, for some reason, was always served with mashed potatoes and beets. And beets I cannot stand either. That would be right there. Kenneth, beets I cannot understand. I do not like beets. And like, people are like, have you had the warm beet salad at Lachon's? No, I didn't, because there's a beet in it. And liver and onions would have to eat with beets and mashed potatoes. And the problem with that is that it's like you have to eat it all. And there was nowhere to hide anything. You want the mashed potatoes, don't get me wrong, but you'd only eat the middle part of the mashed potatoes because all the beet juice would go floating all over the plate. Then you get that red ring around the outside of your mashed potatoes, and I don't want anything to do with that. You can't hide the food anywhere, okay? And you just got to sit there and yak it down. My dad loved liver and onions. It was one of his all-time favorites. And I do remember a couple of years ago, before he passed, that talking to my mom and I said, well, what are you guys having for Thanksgiving? And she said, we're having Dad's favorite. And I said, really? And she goes, liver and onions. And I laughed. And she goes, no, we're actually having liver and onions. And I was like, ugh. Reminds me of the time that we went to a friend's house for Thanksgiving, and we walked in, and they were from Iowa, and the grandmother was there, and she goes, the house smells so nice. That Thanksgiving goose is going to be so delicious. And I'm like, yeah, Thanksgiving goose, that's great. And I'll be damned if they didn't go and pull a freaking goose out of the oven and put it on the center of the table. There was no alternate meat. None. No alternate meat. And I'm not a big turkey fan, so we always have a ham. And Sue is of Slavic descent, so we always have Polish sausage too. So I have other meat options if I so choose. Goose, that was it. It was goose or nothing. I had so much corn and potatoes and stuffing, but I didn't even like the stuffing because it was stuffing made with goose stuff. So I was done there. And so, but the liver and onions, no, thank you. So those are my top 5 all-time worldwide things they hated to eat as a child, but was forced to. And I'll run down that list one more time for you. It starts out at number 5 with the tuna casserole. At number 5, we go to number 4 with the venison. And I know people out there love it. I don't. Number 3 is the cabbage roll. Number 2 is trout. And number 1 is liver and onions. So we're just about done for the day. Ooh, I ran a little bit long. And it's almost 4:20, so might as well just hop on this one. And so it gets to my favorite part of the show, which is, what color is the sky on your planet? What color is the sky on your planet? And today's story, what color is the sky on your planet, comes to us from New Jersey. It comes to us from New Jersey, where restaurants will put a lot of thought into the ambience that defies their dining experience, if you will. And there are some very kitschy places. And there's this restaurant bar it was a restaurant bar. It was called Donkey's Place. It's in Camden, New Jersey. And it has one of the best cheesesteaks ever. It is known for its cheesesteak sandwiches. It has one of the best cheesesteaks ever. And so a guy goes in to to have the cheesesteak. And I've seen, and Anthony Bourdain even said it's one of the best cheesesteaks ever. So it opened in 1943, and it's just Camden. It's right across from Philly, but it replaces that hoagie with a Kaiser roll and poppy seeds, and then didn't do cheese whiz, because the Philly steak sandwich is, there's no green peppers, there's no onions. It's the beef, it's the ribeye and cheese whiz. That's what it is. If you go to Pat's or you go to Geno's, they call it a steak, steak whiz when they're yelling back to the short order cook, right? So it's a divey atmosphere littered with random trinkets, which is what we're going to talk about. One of the random trinkets. And that decorated the bar. And a guy goes in, and the bar has been home to what is known as a walrus baculum. And I don't know about the baculum, but it is a 4-foot long fossilized walrus baculum. Believed to be the largest in existence, was auctioned off for $8,000 recently. But the one at Donkey's Place was a bit more modest, but it was a great conversation piece that guests routinely inquire about the origins, and the staff then says, here's what you're holding. Well, what is a walrus baculum? It is a fossilized walrus penis. Yes, a fossilized walrus penis. And according to an employee, 3 guys were drinking in the bar the day before New Year's Eve, got the chance to get up and close and personal with the walrus baculum, and then blew out of Dodge and stole the walrus penis. And the one thing that the bar did that was smart was the man who was filming it used a credit card to pay. Okay, so they knew who stole this item. So they are trying to track him down. The owner says, listen, I am not going to press charges. I just want my walrus penis back. So today, what I have to say quite simply is, if you find yourself where you either have your own walrus penis, desire to own a walrus penis, or steal a walrus penis, all I can say to you is, what color is the sky on your planet? And that ends our show for today, folks. Where I just, since the show has started, I'd like to remind you that I still remain unemployed and loving it, actually. I'm going to go downstairs. I was going to talk about college football playoffs tonight, but I think it is Oregon and Indiana and Ole Miss and Miami. I think you're going to see a Miami-Indiana national championship game, because Miami's secret weapon, I say with that, is Carson Beck, and Indiana is just really damn good. And I can never go for Oregon because I hate them. But it'll be off to watch college football tonight. Again, tomorrow I will not be live on the air, but there will be a weekly recap that will be available, and it will run at 3:00 if you want to go and check that out. And then I will be back next week on Monday. We've got Dobie Maxwell. Later in the week, we've got a couple other surprise guests coming up. I've got more top fives. I've been having a blast putting top fives up. If you have any suggestions for top fives, you can send them on the contact form at drewandkb.com if you would like, or you can just add the comments below. Say, why don't you do this as a top 5? And I'll look into it, doing top 5s that way. But until we meet again on Monday live, I will end, as I always do, by saying, make good choices.